Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR Today for August 1st, 2022. The man they call Meathead, the Matthew Thomas of all Matthew Thomases, spreading the bacon love with Trailer Trash Tammy. It's Matthew Thomas. Good morning, Matthew.
How do you cook your bacon, Meathead?
I bake my bacon.
I do the same thing. We've never talked about this before. That's exactly my strategy as well, too. And
it is never fried. Never.
It makes life much easier. You preheat the oven, you put it in there, you leave it. You don't have to worry about the thing with bacon, you got so much grease splashing around. You don't have to worry about that. Yep. It's nice and clean.
Especially when you make your bacon naked. You don't want to burn off your
Yeah. Not at all. And you get to do so many other things. I mean, think about how many minutes we put back in our lives just by baking our bacon.
That were subtracted by having this conversation. But let us 375. I use 2 cookie sheets, and I cut the package actually in half before I put the bacon on there. I don't like the long pieces. I like the shorter pieces for sandwiches. I'm a
big crispy bacon, so I go 450 on that thing.
Oh, yeah, 375, 10 minutes on each side. So 2 sheets, and then at the 10-minute mark, I take the one sheet out, spin it around, put it on the stove, and then I take the other sheet out, spin it around, put it on the top rack, put the other one on the bottom rack, rotate it another 10 minutes. So
the question to you, our listeners, is how do you bake your bacon? You said 375?
375.
375 and 450. So the question goes to you, our listeners. Tweet at WCW Meathead, at the real M. Thomas, about how you bake your bacon.
Well, I mean, it's not Kevin Bacon, it's not Sharon Bacon, it's not Trailer Trash Tammy, but we saw somebody in a tank top at SummerSlam sitting ringside with the latest rainbow collar and elbow. Matthew, if they want to get that shirt, where are they going to go?
collarandelbowbrand.com. You can wear what you see. It's as seen on TV at collarandelbowbrand.com. Enter promo code Linda K. Save yourself 10% on your new wares. And I know you've got something special coming from Collar Elbow, don't you?
Oh, yeah, actually. I mean, again, folks that know me enough and have listened to this program enough, and my wife has tolerated me long enough, know that the only way I stayed married is by working stiff with the wife. So I have a working stiff t-shirt coming from Collar and Elbow. Make sure you get yours, too, at collarandelbowbrand.com. Using that promo code Linda K, it'll save you to 10%.
Outstanding.
All right, we don't have a ton of news really to get into, but we do have to get into a bunch of SummerSlam. And again, I'm not going to get into Trailer Trash Tammy, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. Matthew, you said you finally have seen it, right? I know our girl Linda Kay was in the house at SummerSlam. We'll talk to her tomorrow morning about her experiences there. We're not going to get into the Ric Flair's last match scenario yet because we want to talk about it tomorrow. Matthew has not watched the program yet, so we will break that down on Tuesday morning. Trust me, you're not missing a ton of Raw discussion. We can actually talk about the Ric Flair match instead, including the Ric Flair main event and who was at the show, the Ric Flair pay-per-view. So let's get into SummerSlam. Matthew, a chock full of wrestling action. There was talk with Triple H taking over creative, Triple H taking over the EVP role, and Triple H basically being the man now as far as running the business from the wrestling side with his sister, his wife.
I thought in order to be the man, you had to beat the man. Did he beat the man?
That was a Ric Flair reference, but we're going to continue on. So with his wife Stephanie being co-executive, CEO, and Nick Khan being the other co-CEO, Triple H is now in charge. It's his show. It's his baby. There was a lot of excitement for SummerSlam. WrestleMania, 2 nights, still had a ton of matches. A lot of the pay-per-views are premium live events on Peacock. Always left us kind of wanting more, where they had less matches and they had less excitement. Didn't have people showing up out of nowhere. This show had a different feel to it. Let's start off with the opening match. Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship. Bianca Belair defeats Becky Lynch. They actually shake hands at the end. Becky Lynch seemingly turning face. And then we hear the music. Ding dong, hello. Look who returns with about 27 pockets on her pants. It's Bayley. Matthew, you've had Bayley on the PWR Fantasy Draft team since the draft. Tell me.
Yes, indeed, because you knew she was coming back, and you knew when she came back she was going to, make a splash. And Bianca's had that belt for quite a while. We've seen, kind of the various incarnations of programs with Bianca for that title. So I think there is no doubt as far as who Bayley is going to be working with, and I think it's a pretty predictable outcome in the next few pay-per-views. So I expect to cash in on my pickup of Bayley from the start. Oh yeah.
Bayley did not come alone. A returning, and as Corey Graves yelled, I'm not even sure she's got a WWE contract. It's Dakota Kai. Your thoughts on Dakota Kai?
I mean, Triple H taking over the helm, and we get a.
You keep saying helm, and all I can think is Helmsley. So I mean, I don't know if that's intentional. Yeah.
A call up here. I mean, there were. This was an eventful opening match, not just because of the outstanding match, but because of the news that came with it. Bayley returning Dakota Kai, and probably what you're going to segue next to.
I am going to segue next, but before I get there, Matthew, the SummerSlam setup was exactly the same as it was last year. A very long entrance ramp with a really lackluster stage, technically. Like, they didn't come in from a stage. They came in from, like, a little entrance area. And the reason I bring this up is the third surprise, formerly known as Io Shirai, and Graves kept saying it, and it was like nails on a chalkboard, but apparently it's official, Io Sky. Now, the walk that she does when she does it at NXT only is about 20 steps. That drunk walk she does for that long distance looked terrible.
Well, I mean, there's probably, you're in Nashville, so you got probably a lot of people doing that walk on Broadway.
But dude, I honestly think she should have cut it out, because she had to do that walk for like 5 minutes. Like, she looks spastic, to be honest.
Hey, I understand. I understand Johnny Ace's scooter is available now, so she could have used a scooter to get down there.
People power for Io Sky. Matthew, did you not think that? Oh, look at Io Sky, and she's still going, and she's still doing that lumping back and forth. Tell me you didn't think this.
It makes you kind of thankful that Taker didn't have to do that walk, right?
Well, Taker's slow and methodic, so he could do that walk. But again, she does that little, like, just going back and forth thing. She had to do that for almost 5 minutes. It was too much. It was too much. All right, let's get into the next match, because all the women were in the ring staring at Bianca and Becky side to side, the women's division has gotten a shakeup, and obviously some fresh blood has been inserted into the women's division. Now, let's talk about Logan Paul and The Miz. I don't mean any disrespect to both competitors, but this is the match I fell asleep in, and I didn't know who won it until just this morning. Logan Paul defeats The Miz with assistance from AJ Styles because Ciampa tried to interfere. Matthew, your thoughts on the match?
I got to say, I think the WWE fans, which you can say now, have come around on Logan Paul. It was definitely not the reception he got that I saw in the building in Dallas back earlier this year. I thought it was actually a really good performance from everybody, especially a very, very good performance from Logan Paul. A very good-looking top rope maneuver by Paul to the outside on Miz going through the table. And, WWE crowd there really seemed to maybe kind of change their tune on Logan Paul.
Do you think it's that they changed their tune on Logan Paul, or Miz did his job to become the heel of heels?
I think that you're getting to a point now where they're looking at him, and as much as people did not like him, it just did not like him being in WWE. What he has done in the ring, you've had people that appreciate that. So I think that's the due respect that he's getting. And I think it's similar to, and I don't necessarily think that it's tough to, you remember Mcafee's first foray into NXT. There was a little bit.
He ran that group for a little bit with Oney Lorcan and Paul Burch, I believe.
Yep. And it was still some growing pains there for McAfee in NXT. It wasn't this beloved McAfee that we've got right now. And it reminds me a little bit of how they ended up coming around on McAfee after his first performance against Adam Cole.
On the team they call Meatheads, Bobby Lashley, the current United States champion, defends and defeats Theory to retain the U.S. belt. Did you like that down that, again, 5-minute ramp that they put his little pedestal halfway down the ramp to do his thing?
Yeah, no. And I mean, it's really cool to see this incarnation of Bobby Lashley as over as much as he is. And I thought this match, went exactly the way that it should be. I mean, Theory needs to be beat down. I mean, that's his character right now.
So not McAfee, I'm sorry, Graves yelled this out at one point and said, "You know what, folks? That's not CGI. That's really Bobby Lashley's body. Look at the muscles." I thought that was really kind of, a great point there. The Mysterios defeat the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest, with Rhea Ripley on their side returning. We would assume, because we didn't have the correlation between the videos and him, but returning due to the videos is Edge with a new haircut.
Yeah, Edge got him a nice little trim, and it'll be interesting to see what we get with this version of Edge. I mean, it's kind of a throwback to Brood Edge, kind of, but it's definitely a change up in the Edge persona that we've gotten. And again, not to beat a dead horse, but with there being a new creative direction, what do we see with Edge, man? We're TV 14 now. Do we get the rated R superstar back with his wife Beth Phoenix?
Are we?
I don't know.
Tonight when we watch Raw, will it be TV 14? We've heard the talk, but it's never been officially confirmed. Yeah. So when we watch tonight, let's keep an eye on that rating. Is it TV 14 for the final hour? Who knows? Pat McAfee defeats Happy Corbin. They took away the Seven Nation Army and gave them something close to the Seven Nation Army of their own. He had a group of choir up there singing, "Bum ass Corbin, bum ass Corbin." I was entertained.
Yeah, it's the most eclectic choir group I've ever seen.
They were some beefy dudes. Was that
that was fantastic, man. I mean, what I was hoping, Meathead, I was hoping that would transition into the proper Seven Nation Army. No, they're trying to keep the spirit of it. They're trying to keep the spirit with the, the singable riff, basically.
Keep going.
But yeah, it's it kind of feels like, how you got some songs and stuff that you can't license, so you get a cover version or you get something
absolutely close. So you don't want to pay for it again, so you get something very close.
That's kind of what this reminded me of.
That was WCW music in a nutshell.
Yeah,
I mean, because if you think about it, Jericho came out to a WCW version of Even Flow. Cell 5-5 was Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Come on, WWE, be better. All right, but McAfee wins over Happy Corbin. Love the match. Again, almost had a couple blown spots, because it was really slippery, wet out there. Not Bon Jovi, but again, McAfee, I'm good if he wrestles every fourth pay-per-view or fifth pay-per-view. Is he the Shane McMahon of the WWE right now, where he's a special event?
That's a really, really good analogy right there. And I think he's a little better spot than Shane too, because it's it doesn't feel like there was always the question with Shane, the spots that he would get put in, right. Being part-time like that. I don't think you feel like that with McAfee. And I mean, you don't have it's not somebody who's related. And that was one of the big arguments, with Shane.
Absolutely. The Usos and the Street Profits with the special guest referee, J-E-F-F, J-A-R-R-E-T-T. The Usos defeat the Profits to retain the undisputed WWE Tag Team titles. M.O.T.S, not happy with Dawkins. Not doing anything about it yet, but are they teasing a breakup of the Profits? If
you listen to the commentary, they alluded to his new aggressive side.
Yes.
And
which made Dawkins pick up his game too, is what they said.
Yeah. So I'm intrigued by it because I thought there was a good chance that the belt was going on the Street Profits. With them not having the belt, I mean, I feel like you are running out of a lot that you can do with the Street Profits versus, non-championship teams. So I think, that's where the intrigue comes into play. And, I think Montez Ford, you really have the potential for a breakout single star there.
Yeah, we're all saying that, though. But does he have to be heel, or Dawkins got to turn on him? Does he have to be face?
I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see.
Or do they break it off, and can they be both faces? I don't know. The New Day are the only ones that have really been able to hold their team while going off and being singles.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And, I mean, you almost need – well – My goodness, did we do? Let's see, what is it? It is August. Did we have a King of the Ring this year?
We did not. So technically, Xavier is still the king, even though he
Yeah.
doesn't come out as King Woods anymore.
But I'll tell you, that is a great avenue for somebody like a Montez Ford, somebody you want to break away. He is a. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Montez Ford's your next King of the Ring.
Okay, look at you calling it the prognosticator. After the Usos and the Street Profits, out of nowhere, it's Matt Riddle. Riddle calls out Seth freaking Rollins, and the agents try to hold Rollins back, and he stomps Riddle, during a very wild brawl. You know what, Matthew? You were pining and whining that this match didn't happen on the pay-per-view, so you got no points. Well, look at that. You got appearances out of both of them.
So I think it was back in 2015 on one of the first Stone Cold Broken Skull sessions. In an interview with Triple H, he was talking about how if he had his way, Raw would be 2 hours. Now, it was a lot of kind of mystery surrounding the injury angle they were doing with Riddle and why this wasn't on the show, being that nobody was legitimately injured. If you look at the runtime of SummerSlam, we clocked in at 3.5 hours. Had this match been on the card, we would have pushed 4. I think what they did was a very, very smart crop of the show that cut the runtime down a little bit, but it just made this match feel more important. Had this match happened on the show, I mean, we've had a feud between
They would have
them,
to do 20 minutes at least between those two.
And so I really think that was a very good call in the fact that, all right, let's keep this thing hot. And I mean, we had Riddle take it up another level. That was a much more serious Riddle that we had on Saturday night. And I think that
it reminded me of Jericho when Jericho became serious, because Jericho was always the funny ha-ha guy.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of, is Jericho getting serious.
Yeah, no.
And that's another notch. Kick it up a notch.
Without a doubt.
Almost to the point where, we love us some Ken Anderson, right? But, Ken always talks about how, Hunter said, you got to stop chewing gum. It's where maybe Triple H got in the ear of Riddle and says, we need to take you a little bit more serious.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what that was. That was the representation of that. All right. The Women's Championship match on the SmackDown side. Liv Morgan defeats Ronda Rousey to retain. Rousey assaulted Liv Morgan at the end after the match. Here's the thing. Ronda Rousey had Liv Morgan in a hold. I think it was an ankle lock. I don't remember exactly the hold. But what happened was, it was Ronda with her shoulders pinned to the mat while doing the ankle lock. 1, 2, you see Liv tap on her shoulder. Then 3, the referee's watching the pinfall, watching the shoulders, never sees the tap. Liv Morgan retains, even though technically it looks like Liv tapped out before the 3 count.
Yeah, and I think that a heel Ronda is much more effective than a babyface Ronda. And
she's been healed for the last week or so. We didn't pay attention to it, but she's been healed because she said your mama failed you on SmackDown.
Yeah.
No face ever says that.
And it was those things. It wasn't an outright physicality from a heel, and we got that at SummerSlam. So no, I'm much more intrigued with heel Ronda that we have, and with that beatdown there, it's always your Rondas and your Brocks. It's always a question of, all right, when are they going away for a little while? And with the continuation of what we had at SummerSlam, I think we're going to see Ronda for a little while.
Matthew Thomas. I know I'm echoing pretty much every other fan's sentiment here when I say the main event. We saw something that was a holy shit moment. If there's going to be a Slammies, it's an easy holy shit moment. We've seen the beer truck hit the ring. We've seen other stuff bump the ring a little bit. We've never seen a tractor lift up the corner of the ring from a person who we've always said he could snap at any point and we'd be deathly afraid of him. Brock Lesnar with his tractor lifted up the corner of the ring. I literally audibly in a house by myself, because the kids weren't there to watch with me, said, holy shit. Roman Reigns defeats Brock Lesnar in a last man standing match to retain the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Not a failed cash-in attempt, but Theory did come out, and as he was about to cash it in, was attacked by Roman Reigns, therefore never an official cash-in laid out on the ringside. Paul Heyman put through the announce table. Paul Heyman so worried for his tribal chief, threw the belts at Brock and says, "Take him, stake him, stop killing my tribal chief." What an amazing match.
So it's so interesting that we're where we're at right now with Vince leaving and Vince being as big of a, he's the sports entertainment guy, and the talk being after Vince stepped down, all right, maybe we're going to go back a little bit more to a wrestling company. Meathead, I got to tell you, SummerSlam, the main event, was probably my favorite sports entertainment moment of all time. This was the stuff that you can do in something like the WWE that, when you're trying to simulate a sport, it's not possible. This was the epitome of everything WWE can be, with just outright chaos, absurdity, production value. This match, I have not felt this about this. I've not felt this about a match in a long, long time. It was iconic, and I think iconic is the word for it, because there's a lot of really, really great technical wrestling matches that you watch, you say great things about, and then you forget. I don't think there's many people watching SummerSlam this year, 2022, that is going to forget about a ring that is lifted up by a tractor, and basically, lopsided for a good third.
Roman Reigns was in the ring when it happened, and he rolled out of the ring because he was thrown from the ring. I mean, I literally feared for that man's safety for a brief second.
Hey, keep in mind, this was after Roman Reigns was in the cradle of the tractor. That happened earlier.
Yes.
I mean, this was the epitome of everything we wanted from Farmer Brock. Like this was Farmer Brock. This was the high watermark for him. And the other thing with this too is, throughout all of the chaos of that ring, of that match, they told a story, man. I mean, you didn't know which way this was going to go. Both of them seemed like they were, beating all odds. Heyman got F5 through an announce table. I mean, there was so much great stuff.
And this is after we watched Kid Rock make out with Trailer Trash Tammy at ringside. WWE not acknowledging, one, who she is, two, literally ran away from that picture. The second she flipped off the screen went blank. I mean, go back and watch it. It goes black for a second. Like, what the fuck are we watching?
Just an outstanding main event. I mean, this was, and as many times as we've seen Brock and Roman, to think that we could get something this radically different, we got it.
Holy man. I could have done without standing on top of Brock with all that stuff and him holding his nuts while they're I mean, that's a kind of an atypical Roman Reigns, but this show, wow. I'm excited to see what's going on Raw. Now, will we get typical Raw again? Probably. Maybe with a little bit here or there. But, wow. They had a lot to compete with. Not only in the wrestling world, literally in the city, as the Ric Flair last match ever was going to be happening the following night in the exact same city. And we'll get to that story tomorrow with Linda Kay, who was actually on site for SummerSlam and the Ric Flair's final match. So she'll be able to give us comparisons. Matthew, let's talk PWR Fantasy Draft. Now, there was a lot of special appearances that weren't technically going to happen. You got appearance points from a lot of different competitors. First off, Bayley shows up. How about some appearance points for you? AJ Styles not on the card? That's all right. Matthew's going to get some appearance points from AJ Styles. Edge returns? How about some appearance points? Wait, do you have Edge? No, you dropped Edge.
No.
But, how about RK Bro and Seth Rollins both showing up? There's some more appearance points. How about the totals?
Absolutely.
So the night goes to Matthew Thomas with 230 points. I had 170. Linda Kay with 155. The new totals, according to the accounting firm at Dewey, Cheatham and Howe, the man they call Meathead still leads at 1,835 points. In second place, not too far behind Linda Kay, 1,610 points. And bringing up the rear, like Trailer Trash Tammy, 1,240 points. So, Matthew Thomas, the rosters are now locked again. They will unlock the Friday before Labor Day, which means that weekend will be a WWE Clash at the Castle pay-per-view. We know that Drew McIntyre will be in the main event against Roman Reigns. And then that Sunday, Labor Day weekend, is All In or All Out? Which out is it?
Innie or outie, I'm not sure.
It's an innie or outie. I don't know, but it's an AEW pay-per-view for sure. So I think it's All Out. Yeah, I think it's All Out, but it's definitely in Chicago. Points will be double for AEW, but do we risk, drafting too many AEW people with a WWE pay-per-view the night before? So, Matthew, you got a chance to get a little respectability going, being so far behind.
I do, and I think in this one there's going to be some moves made because I think we might have seen our favorite cowboy kind of ride off into the sunset for a little while.
Well, that would wash away the 30 points that you got from Brock Lesnar and put it down to 5 if you took a replacement transaction.
Net 5. Oh, yeah.
Net 5. All right. So, again, tomorrow morning we'll hear from our girl, Linda Kay, and get comparisons between SummerSlam and Ric Flair's final match. By the way, if we didn't mention this yet, the Fanny Pack Kid, Cal Hero, in the Buckhouse Battle Royal at this pay-per-view as well with a showing. A showing. I don't want to spoil it in case you haven't looked at the results yet, but he didn't win. However, he was in the Battle Royal, and he got some action in there with some Hall of Famers. So, for Matthew Thomas, for Linda Kay, the man they call Meathead, we will talk to you tomorrow morning. So long, everyone.